I don't know if he knows what he's going to. So May 18th, yeah, that's creeping up.
Yes, that's why I'm like, can we get Idaho Springs to agree that their graphic is okay?
Did what's okay with Idaho Springs or?
Just their graphics,
Oh,
I'm hoping they've at least told Robert everything looks okay and is fine. I'm done trying, you know, like I forgot my own stuff
Yeah,
to
you can
finish up.
yeah.
Oh,
Good morning. Morning, you're on vacation. I was, but it was only 2.5 days, so it was only short.
What are you doing, Mother?
Pretty well, thank you. How are you?
In here, I'm good, I'm doing.
Get that out of order. How's it going, Johnson?
Things going so well, how are you doing? How is it not cold for you? I even went for an extra pair of pants. With my dress this morning. It's cold, and it's supposed to be rainy and cold today.
Not bad.
Yep,
April.
May.
Wednesday. Well, I haven't since June. Although I didn't get my yard. I got those messages yesterday.
Hmm.
Kevin has to do some of the notes here now.
Oh.
Yes, you called Craig yesterday, so we could do the meetings with the vice chair. What's that?
I have lots of questions.
That's gonna be great. Who's in the chat?
I think it might have been Jen. No? Maybe just a clerk. Just a customer.
Oh, okay.
I tried to make that a little less shiny so it doesn't blind you.
Make lights less shiny? Excuse me. You know, this thing still says Rebecca Whitney. It's a lady that works here for a short period for a long time ago.
I remember her. She
Yeah.
was right before me, right?
Yeah, she's after Marinelle, before you. But Rebecca was right before me, I think.
Yeah, she's right before you, and then she was done the version of them. They're really talented, she's a really talented son,
Oh, yeah, he's a dancer, right?
yeah.
Is he still doing it?
I don't know, cause I haven't looked at Facebook. I can't download this package, why is this not letting me do this? Hmm.
Added to the agenda this morning.
Finally.
Yeah, I remember you saying that, what are you gonna, or what are you gonna ask him?
I just wanted to do an amendment to, discuss the businesses that are always closed.
Okay.
and stuff like that.
Okay.
Oh,
Oh, we get in trouble when we talk about that.
All the buildings that are.
wait. How you feeling, man?
Good.
Yeah?
Watching, go downstairs.
You mountain biking yet?
No,
Me
not gonna do
neither.
that till August, but
Let it cool down.
yeah,
Who wants to be out there when it's hot?
exactly.
What's that like?
Hey. All right, how are you? Yeah.
Nice bag. They're always so stylish.
That is true.
I saw this in New York City probably 10 years ago. And I kept a note on it. And then I was doing that for Christmas and found it.
Who's bringing?
Will last forever too, and always be elegant. Is it Georgetown or Georgetown Gas?
It is, I think it's guessed,
Thank you.
but I'm not sure.
Okay, I'll try to guess. Should have been asked, honestly. Craig is the vice chair, Kevin has to take his mother for a medical thing.
Okay, there's a good.
Kind of emergency, yeah, we left a message with, you thought you were on vacation, you left a message. with
It's okay. She wanted to be on her day.
What's his name?
She did.
He left a message- he left a message with Craig, but I'm not Craig.
He's back. Yeah, I thought it's coming back tomorrow, but maybe he's planning on zooming in. This one, it didn't work under guest.
Well, I tried guess, but access now is over. Two exclamation points.
Capital A, capital N.
Tries me.
Do you wanna try maybe the staff one? Here, let me go grab it.
Don't worry about it, I can always just use my phone too. It's no big deal.
Okay.
But we probably only have a meeting because it seems like the leaders aren't here.
I'm texting him to see if he's,
I can go down and check it.
Because I'm not even sure if I have his right.
Craig? Craig.
Yeah.
Or you're texting.
yeah,
Right, but yeah, it's,
I'm gonna go check it and see if there's.
He doesn't get it from the
Better
chair.
communication, right? I can't even get a hold of him on the phone.
that's why I can like move recently, like, it's
Nothing from the chair.
gonna be like,
We're excused absence.
nobody from the chair would.
That if they're gonna be out of town for excused absence.
well,
We
it's.
should go, yeah, we should go ahead and vote since the non-excused absences, we only get a certain amount.
Okay then. Well, I said my alarm to go this morning, I can go home too. Well, good morning, Vice Chair, how are you? Apparently, he's, unavailable for a family situation and was expecting you to be stepping in. Are you back? Can you? Okay. Okay. All right, well, so do you have the link to, so we can at least have you? Okay.
Okay, that password doesn't even for guests.
Okay, thanks.
Has anyone received anything from this? So maybe there's something like.
So I've
Two
got,
explanations.
our vice chair on the line.
Yes.
Like you text him the link, because he's gonna have to call in to do it, he can't like,
You can call, let me give them the phone numbers. It's on the back of your agenda.
okay. All right, you want me to text it to you? Okay, all right,
There's phone numbers you can call.
all right,
Three phone numbers.
stand by, thanks.
What do you want?
Bye now. Oh, I like that even better, thanks.
Which one do they use?
They can use, nobody, people normally don't use them.
Okay.
Available. In theory.
So. Not here, then.
Do you use Zoom?
When we had our meetings before, worked well.
You called in one of those numbers, you mean? Yeah.
Oh, it just
Okay,
says
let's
there,
see
it
if-
doesn't actually show the link.
Let's see if this one works for him, so let's watch.
1, 2, 3, 4, and then 5. Yeah,
It's
that's
this
this
one. Video. This one.
We technically have a forum anyway now.
Cool. And you listen to it.
Let's let the vice chair vice away, let him suck, that's what he gets the big bucks for. He didn't know there was an incentive.
It's 20% more maybe.
I still want them in.
Well, I sent them,
No,
out,
no,
it's been like today.
You can send them the button on the page too, and
Yeah.
say, you can go to zoom.us.
He said he advertised, that doesn't work for him, so I don't know what, I know.
Yeah.
I don't know what.
Yeah, I guess transition, I'm trying to use it.
What's his, let's see, I mean, I have his,
I don't get that.
I don't get- it's gotta be his email. I'd have to send him the link.
Oh.
Try your email,
I thought I just tried calling you.
just ask him his email.
So here we do this. Okay, you got the meeting ID though? Sorry, okay. All right, we'll continue twiddling our thumbs, all right, thanks, bye. No, that's okay, we'll wait for you over here. All right, thanks, bye. All right, plugging in the stuff. So are you fully recovered? Are you like running, hiking?
Well, I've hiked, you know, we were in Mazatlan for, the eclipse and had to hike up and over to the secluded beach and did that successfully. Yeah, it's, but I'm not supposed to be doing anything athletic.
Okay.
And I don't know why, but I'm just following orders. But I feel like I do everything.
Or that's what you tell the dogs in the morning when you don't have to take them out.
Oh, yeah, dogs. Actually, that's funny. I haven't really gotten back to walking both dogs, but I can, I know, but I probably using the excuse with my wife of like, no, you take them.
Well, one were to go this way and one were to go
They
that
do
way.
that.
All of a sudden you got
Okay,
twisted.
it's here.
Okay.
Not to early. Okay, Craig, it looks like you're on, but you're muted. Can you hear us, Craig?
No.
Yeah.
There
Hi, guys.
it is.
You got me?
Yeah.
Gotcha.
Okay. Hey, I'm just gonna, Mary, would you just mind running the meeting since you've got the agenda in front of you and stuff and, but
Do all the things.
would you do that for me?
Sure, I'll punt here. So I'm calling the Georgetown Business Promotion Commission meeting on May 1st to order. The time is 8:10. Roll call, please.
Mike Huggins.
Here.
Paul Vogt.
Here.
Mary Smith.
Here.
Gary Hayes. Craig Abrahamson.
Here.
Agenda approval. Do we have any changes in the agenda? I would like to suggest that we strike number 4 only because we don't have the information available to discuss.
Okay.
I wanted to add one more item to the agenda. Discussing that closing or that are closed most of the time.
Okay. Let the record reflect that Jessica Trivett is here. Do you want your item still on the agenda?
Yeah, I just kind of want to touch base on where we're at on that. I don't think it's a long time. That's
Okay, and Craig is zooming in, so our vice chair is here, but not. So I need a motion to approve the agenda.
I'll make a motion to approve.
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Motion passes. Any audience business? Bob, you're already on the agenda, correct? Or you should have been, so, oh yeah, you are. That's why I had number one, okay, just wanted to make sure. We don't have anyone else on Zoom that's apparently on. Any new business owners and operators that we need to welcome? That anyone is aware of? No? Okay, noon unfinished business, Josh Clark, Bob, you're up.
Okay, you've got a draft report, which is pretty accurate. I'll answer any questions you have on that, otherwise I'll just let you go over it. A few things that you should be aware of. First off, we did get the pine tree in the parking lot tested or reviewed by a certified arborist. And the resolution of that was the tree is healthy. So that may, I don't know, does that change your recommendation to expand the parking lot? Would that make a difference? What I plan to do is any feedback from you guys or from Parks and Rec, you'll see, I will bring to the Board of Selectmen meeting on the 13th, and then we can make a decision about the parking lot. And I did get updated pricing from Banky for
Thank you.
excavation and rebuilding the rock wall and so forth. I've got an ad hoc quote from a local tree guy to take down both trees. It was like $3,000, so I think we had budgeted originally like $4,500 to take down that tree. So I know we've been in the ballpark, so I'm not worried about that. At the same time, we assessed the tree in Star Park, the cottonwood tree. And we made a very quick decision since it was not healthy. And even if it were trimmed up and properly maintained, it probably wouldn't survive. He said, mainly because of the compaction with people walking in that area. He says, you have to basically isolate it and, you know, he thought it really would be better off to just remove it. So we made the decision because we had 1 week, we have to get it removed and the stump gone by the end of this week, so Lunsford can start. The town came in and pulled the tree down, cut it up Friday. Banky was there late Monday, and pulled the stump out, so it's all gone. Just need to repair the electrical that they pulled out when they pulled the stump out, but that's an easy fix. And we will, just so that if you hear anything, I know that the tree was originally planted as a memorial tree for Kip's father, I think, I don't know his last name, but he's been notified. Cindy Neely talked to him, and we do plan to go ahead and put a replacement tree, probably an evergreen, in the 12 to 14 foot range. I'm asking for a price on that, with a memorial plaque at some point. So that's something that, you know, we'll be taking care of with the landscaping effort on the park this year. The other thing is the Parks and Rec group are going to, basically, Kevin, yeah, with help from Ryder, are going to take care of the irrigation system. So it's going to save us a bunch of money. That plus the elimination for this year of putting the ice melt system in, brings us back to pretty much within our original $306,000 budget, so we're on track. And I've got final numbers on a lot of stuff. The electrical went down because of postponing the ice melt. So that's kind of where we are. We're back pretty much on target budget. The other thing I asked is, we set the boulders, the town did that yesterday, the seeding boulders around the fire pit. That's more or less per plan where they are. We may tweak them slightly, although it's not easy, since they weigh up to 30,000 pounds. I would like any feedback. My personal opinion, I don't like it, but, I mean, that's just a personal opinion, and I put it in that context. I would be interested in any feedback from anybody you hear, you can pass it on to me, whether you like them, whatever. It seems a little congested, it just kind of look not as finished as the fire pit does. But that's just a thought, as you're wandering around and take a look at it and see what you think. They're putting in the underground irrigation, this week. We got all that trenched yesterday and burying stuff.
You have a deadline for your feedback?
Yeah, this week. Yeah, I mean, we could probably get, Lunsford to help us move around a little bit if we need to next week, or get the town back down there. The other thing, I think it's in there, but, I met with Lunsford last week, we had a kickoff meeting. They're going to start on the 7th of May, which is next week. And they're going to target having the flagstone down and the planters in the grass area shaped with the metal edging, and all that, by Memorial Day weekend. So the park should be pretty well set by then. And then I think we'll probably do come back and do the plantings after Memorial Day, which is pretty appropriate for election. The concrete work in the park area is done. And then we'll move, once we figure out what we're doing with the parking lot, we'll move in that direction. So that's kind of the update. Anybody have any questions?
Those stones you're discussing, feedback on, was that an afterthought or was that, what was
that?
The big stones that you're asking about?
Yeah.
Were those in the original plan?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Those are like, what actually, what would we be sitting on at the first?
Yeah, the idea was you had a concrete wall that, was nice to face kind of about 8 feet, I think, 7 or 8 feet from the fire pit.
Yep.
And then there was a placement of some big boulders, like clusters, natural cut stone, in between that and the fire pit to give like a second approach. So it's like a, not quite a bullseye, but a concentric type of thing.
For sure.
They're big.
They are big. I mean, I like them. I like the way it looked, but I was also I didn't put too much effort into like seeing what the final plan was gonna look like because I was so surprised that was happening. But I think it was interesting.
When you're asking for feedback, what are the other options to consider that you have?
I would be looking for suggestions. I mean, if for some reason we didn't want them in there, or right now they're like butted up against each other, we could probably put more space between them. That would be to some extent feasible, or you could remove them, I guess, and use them as other places in the park, but I don't know where you put them all in the park because they're huge and we do want to keep the place open so people can walk through. And we'll have 2 grass areas, right? Basically grass is gonna go behind the seawall on both sides. So it'll be flagstone from the sidewalk in, about a 5 or 6 foot wide entrance into the fire pit area. And then flagstone on both sides of the seating bowl so that that's all paved, and then a flagstone thing coming out on the other end, tying into the rest of the flagstone. Along the sidewalk, there's 2 planters. And there's room for 2 benches, which will probably put some flagstone down underneath where the benches would go, so they don't sit on dirt. And then, we need to buy some benches at some point, but that's what the design calls for.
Have you reached out to parks to get their opinion to add to?
Tomorrow night at 6 o'clock, I'll be here.
I wasn't sure if they're being valid or not.
Yeah. And, I did get feedback, I brought the concern about the tree, the cottonwood tree to DRC, last week's meeting, and they agree, but yeah, it is a memorial tree, so we should treat it that way. I said, yeah, we'll do something there, so we established that. And we may ultimately decide maybe not to put a tree right there, right where it was. We may move it somewhere, or we may do a cluster of 3 trees, maybe a pine tree and some aspens or something. I don't know. We'll figure that out when we do the plantings.
Craig, do you have anything you want to add on this particular topic?
Yeah, just, I want to clarify on the parking lot question. I don't think we formally gave you a recommendation from our commission. I think we each expressed personal opinions. Are you looking for a formal recommendation regarding the parking lot from DPC?
Yeah, I thought that's what we had. I took it as a consensus that the answer was yes, expand the parking lot.
Oh, that was the direction it was going to when it was presented to the board also.
This is the
Correct.
parking lot behind Starks Park, right?
So,
I kind of felt, yeah, I kind of felt like there were some open questions about the tree health being one of those. If we're just going to go with consensus, I'm just going to express my personal opinion that I don't think it's been completely vetted from a cost benefit perspective. And not that you need our approval or recommendation from DVC on it, but if you're looking for it, I think if we're going to offer an actual recommendation, we should formalize that in some way.
So, but I think that formal recommendation needs to come today. We need to have some discussion because this project is moving forward. So let's.
Well, and I think that's fine. I think Bob can. I mean, I brought up a couple of issues that I think need to be fleshed out, and if those are just personal and we want to go with the consensus from last time, that's fine. I can bring them up to selectmen as well.
Well, I'm getting the
So
impression.
I'd say why don't we just go with that? If we feel like we had a consensus in that direction last time, then we can carry forward with that, and then I'll just express my concerns directly to the board.
The 3 issues, just the 3 issues that have been laid on the table were to make sure we adequately address drainage. You know, when we get to a final design, which we will. The health of the tree, which has been addressed, and I'll bring that forward again to the board. And the other was, inform the property owners, and check with, see if there's any issues there, which I have discussed that with Rick, and he didn't seem to think there were any issues there, so. I mean, those are the things, and the board is, from the last presentation, those are all on the table.
So wait, the
They're
town
on the table.
Oh,
So the last discussion that was at the board, we were moving forward based on prior recommendations. However, I think the health of the tree is significant, and at least this commission should express their opinion as to whether they feel that the parking lot should be expanded with the removal of the tree, or if we should stop the expansion because the tree, and the tree remains. If the tree were removed, it would be replaced with similar size or multiple sizes to equate that. So if the commission.
Would that be the actual proposal, is to replace those caliper inches?
Yeah, that's what was, I mean, that's what's been indicated, is that if the tree comes down, and the town would replace it, not necessarily there, obviously, but somewhere with the equivalent caliber.
Right, and whether the tree had been
Well,
healthy or not, the tree was still going to be replaced. That was part of the consensus.
Yeah.
For
I just like, I mean, I'm just looking, I feel like this project, we do a lot of this, and again, it's not our project, so it's only relevant because it's brought to us for our opinion. But, I mean, I haven't seen a budget anywhere for actually replacing those caliper inches in trees. And that's not gonna be an insignificant cost, because that's a fairly significant tree. So it's not like you're gonna stick a couple of 2-inch cottonwoods up and actually meet that objective. You know, we're talking about a dozen or more. So that's just my personal opinion. We don't need to belabor it here. I think, like I said, if we had a consensus coming out of the last meeting and the board generally through at least Mary's representation of BPC, she can express any, you know, qualifications to our consensus, and that's fine. That's adequate for me. So I'm good.
Well, before you close up the topic, I do just want to discuss that, like, I personally don't, I mean, has there been demand for more parking? Like, don't we have plenty of street parking? I mean, do we need the extra
always.
spots?
That was what drove this whole thing, is the desire to put additional parking in the downtown core was deemed pretty high, you know, was deemed very, very favorable
And street
by
parking
all the commissions.
doesn't meet those needs. I guess,
No, so there was extensive conversation at the last meetings regarding expanding the parking lot at Strauss Park. And with the configurations that Bob provided to us last meeting and to the Board of Selectmen and I'm assuming
everyone.
Parks,
Yes,
that we were talking how many additional spaces?
you get 5 or 6, depending if you wanna count the one that's.
Kind of sort of there,
Yeah.
right. So that decision had been made and they were moving forward on adding additional parking at Strauss Park. That was where the Strauss Park project was moving forward. So opinions though now, let's just get it on the record. Does everyone still stand in the same place or?
Can I ask a question really quick? If you don't have to remove the tree, then is there still 5 spots, or would that be only like 4?
No, you don't extend the parking, it makes no sense
Okay,
to do that,
so there's no additional spots for keeping the tree.
no. But if the tree stays, then the park, it stays the way it is.
okay.
I personally lean towards keeping the tree and just modifying parking along the streets if there's any restrictions, but it sounds like that's not a viable option.
Where would you modify, there's no way
There's no.
to modify parking on the street, I mean, it is
And
what's there.
that's what it is.
Paul, do you have anything you'd like to share in?
I didn't do that for that reason, but sure. I'm not opposed to doing it, but I do agree with Jessica that we don't push our street parking enough. We have tons of street parking, but we seem to pretend that it's only available on 6th Street or on 5th Street, and we're forgetting that we have an entire town full of street parking within 2 blocks of everything we're doing. And the idea of increasing and expanding parking lots is outdated, and it's from the late 20th century and not 21st century thinking. And, you know, I was an urbanist. That's part of what I did for a living for a few years. And our idea was to minimize parking lots and to put street parking. Parking on these streets, even though it seems narrow, is actually a traffic speed deterrent, and it helps prevent accidents with people, with children and things like that. Our, in Atlanta, if you want to look at Glenwood Park, which is the neighborhood that I was involved in, we actually changed the city code so that we could get double-decker fire trucks and prove that they didn't need the turn radiuses that they said they needed. That we could have these tight turns and tight street parking availability. While I'm not against expanding the parking lot, I do think that we need to figure out a way to better educate the public that parking is only a couple blocks away. We have this issue every single time we have an event in town. 6 spaces is not gonna make a significant difference, and I don't think it's gonna deter people from using our town. Thank you.
Mike,
I'm indifferent. I mean, I spent years in Arvada battling, or watching battle, parking, no parking, and ultimately we ended up like making everything a street mall, getting rid of all the parking, and we're still successful. So it's like one of these things that's so opinionated. I mean, I would, if there's an opportunity, you know, to add a couple more spots, I'd say go for it, and especially, you know, the potential of cross-utilizing that lot for food trucks, et cetera, et cetera. So, man, is the tree like a huge asset right now as it stands? No, so. I
Cool
read,
pictures.
I just feel like there's some environmental stewardship responsibility.
yeah, for sure, but it's also, if it's like, in a way, it's some useful space of helping turn around, navigating that parking lot, we have some residents that go through that parking lot. Carelessly go through that parking lot at times, and so. The more room, the better.
And there's caliber replacement, so we are replacing the tree.
Exactly.
Gary,
I don't think we need to expand the parking lot up. I agree with Paul, so.
Yeah, I wanted to add that, one of the drivers for, I would say for the support of expanding the parking lot was the unofficial idea that the tree had, was starting to die because some of the lower branches are, they're not green.
scraggly,
Yeah, scraggly, but I mean, they're alive, but there's dead stuff in the soil. And the thought was, well, it looks like it maybe it is starting to get beetle kill. Well, we possess that. The tree is healthy. There is no real beetle kill, so that puts the whole thing in a different light. That's why I'm back here, quite frankly, is we now have the tree health. Certainly, if we leave the parking lot the way it is, it makes my life easier, because it's one less to deal with.
but so would we still improve the parking lot with the amount of spaces now if the tree stayed and we didn't expand it? Is there still a plan, or would
Oh, yeah.
there still be a plan for?
No, we're still,
Clean it up.
whether the parking lot gets bigger or not, we're still going to improve the drainage. Put in the concrete sidewalk from the Rose Street sidewalk up to the restroom, finish all that area. We'll do some landscaping. We can, or if we don't want to, we could go ahead and, for right now, we need, well, at some point, we'll need to make a decision what we want to do for service in there. The cheapest thing would be to just gravel it, pretty much the way it is, but with more coarse aggregate and maybe some finer aggregate on top of it to keep it from settling. Or do something more exotic like gravel paving or whatever. But that's a secondary, that'd be the last thing we would do in there anyway.
So there plan for parking block or anything?
We can add parking block, I mean, that's, the plan calls for parking blocks.
I mean, some of the big ones look like a parking lot, but it's kind of confusing looking for a lot of people.
We could start, I mean, the plans that were designed by DHM call for concrete, parking blocks, which we can do or not. It's no matter what we want it to look like. I mean,
You got some great stones that go around the fire pit.
Right.
So do you feel like you have the opinion of this commission, or?
yeah, I mean, I would say, why don't you guys take a vote? I mean, and make it official whether, the consensus of the commission is either yes or no. I'm not sure, I mean, I think it looks like it might be split, I don't, does that make sense?
I'm ready for a vote.
Go for it. Mike, how do you vote?
Keep the tree,
Paul,
keep the tree.
Jessica,
Keep the tree.
No, keep the tree.
Okay.
Craig?
Well, I guess I'll go with keep the tree. It's less about the tree and more about the big picture, but we'll go keep the tree.
Well, the expense is a part of that. I mean, it's 6 spaces, removing a large tree, replacing tall bridges. You're absolutely correct,
What's your?
Okay. No, I can vote, I need it. Sure, let's keep the tree. Tree huggers today, you have a consensus, now, like,
Yeah.
okay,
Yeah, I know what to bring to the board of selectmen.
thank you. Anything else on Strauss Park, or are we ready to move on?
Thank you.
Thanks, Bob.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you.
Marketing events coordinator, Jess, you're up.
That's me. Alright, so we're just gonna review a couple events, even though we didn't have any town events, we had a lot of lovely events going on through town. One of them was being the Colorado Pond Hockey video shoot, which we approved for the marketing budget. of $2,000. It went very, very well. You had many locals in it. Max from the Drippy store was in the video. You had people who worked for the train at 511 in costume, or you had people who worked for the train on the train in costume. Overall, it was very successful, but we're still waiting on that video and everything to be produced. So just hopefully by the next time we meet, we'll have all that materials. Murder Mixology went very well, was very popular. Devil's Gate History Talk on Bear Ears also as well. Devil's Boom concert series sold out. What a fantastic night it was. The community stepper was so lovely. Jamie did an excellent job coordinating that. Perfect pairing sold out very early as well. Also a very great event. And then Cabin Fever was rescheduled. So we'll keep that on our radar as we move into May. Media highlights. Media was a little mixed this month, so I kept it to the positive stuff, focusing on our businesses, spring snow in our mountain town, just kind of some traffic updates. A lot of what to do this weekend, whether it was ride the train or come and visit one of the museums. Montana Marine Museum was on one of them. We ended up on one of the top 10 places that live in Colorado with a population under 10,000. That was kind of cool. And then of course there was some short-term rental conversations going around, but nothing too pertinent to this group. Although short-term rentals, lodging tax does affect it. Going into event planning and some projects I've been working on, the Colorado Coalition update, we've been working with Leo Trace in the state tourism office to kind of get a regional effort to maximize destination stewardship. This is kind of a big deal because it's two organizations that have nothing in common, kind of recognizing like everyone wants to go outside, but how do we get people inside into these towns? And we're finally getting off the ground. This is their new mission statement. This is just a draft, but it should kind of give you a little bit more in depth of what we're kind of doing and how destination stewardship in Colorado is a success when communities thrive with tourism, where responsible visitation fuels economic vitality and enhances the quality of life. There's a lot more words in there, but the big point here is one of the top 3 things, number 2 on our list that we're gonna be tackling is statewide messaging on how to support a local business. This is a big win. Whether you're looking at the Colorado Trips app, we're now able to do in-app marketing. So let's say you're on Beardstat and you're tracking your trail. Well, oh, there's a little pop-up for Mountain Mamas. Come get your coffee and enjoy a little snack outside. This is a big deal. I think it's really fascinating that we've all had the conversations that we don't market our trail, but we market our town, but this is kind of taking both of those ideas and making them work together. Moving into the Colorado Tourism Office social media campaign that launched this past week. I don't know if you saw the Facebook or the Instagram version, but this is gonna help drive engagement, fuel, coming into our little drought season, but then coming into summer. Working on our social calendar through summer. So we have a lot in our photography, but some of it's a little bit outdated. I remember when I first started and Amanda had to tell me that I posted Santa Fe Trail and we don't have that anymore. So I'm trying to get together a big Excel spreadsheet of what do we have, what's needed, and who can I lean on for support. Let's say our outdoor hiking engagement is something we want to promote. Well, I don't have to be the one to go out and do it. We have wonderful Georgetown Outdoor Discovery. I can utilize their stuff and make sure to cross promote. However, there is going to be days where I'll have to go and showcase the town, and I just want to have all of that clear and concise, so then we can plan through the summer schedule, especially with a lot of our events coming up. And then moving into a lot of our event planning and streamlining our paperwork, whether that's updating the language for more concise application for like our special event building packet. So our Slacker comes every year. We have everything that they need in one given to them. We don't have to follow up with, hey, we also need a park permit for both City Park and Strauss Park, or also we need an amplified sound permit. We can have it all together all in one. And then we were working with our road and bridge. They asked to have street closure applications in a binder. So that way they can look at the previous years and see, you know, what's coming up, how to do it, or if there's new changes like we're having with the Slacker coming up. Any questions before I move on to events? Cool. All right, coming up, we do have the Epic Day of Service. Clear Creek Rotary is trying to get all parts of the towns together to be a part of this day of service. Traditionally, in the past, we've done it as a town, kind of take your own trash, dump it here, but we really want to emphasize, sorry. We really emphasize the fact that our community needs to be cleaned up as well. Whether you're coming into town or you're leaving town, those exit ramps are trashed. We all know that the lake is gonna be a high point, but we have park clubs coming in, so we don't need to focus on that area as much. We can focus on Sixth Street. Parks, we will have 2 waiters in the river, and we're looking for 2 volunteers to help them, so they don't have to balance the trash and creek. But it's just supposed to be a really great day. Cabin Creek is helping sponsor this, so they will be providing a free drink and 20% off voucher per bag. It's not, oh, your group is together with all your friends or your family, everybody gets to participate, it's 1 per bag. So hopefully with the bigger bags, we'll be able to see more trash picked up this time.
Can I interrupt real quick?
Please.
My understanding, and Craig, you can straighten this out too, it's my understanding that when the bags come in for that and they get the voucher, that it's the town trash bag pickup, cleanup, as opposed to someone's personal, well,
No,
the emphasis is on the town's cleanup, and this goes, you know, throughout all the county communities, so.
it will be an orange bag specifically because they are bigger and so we can identify that it's not your home trash. Gotta say it.
Thanks, sorry.
You gotta say it. No, you're good. This is exciting because originally you were supposed to take on Silver Plume and Empire, but Silver Plume was able to get 4 dumpsters on their own. So we'll just be inviting Empire to clean up their town, and their town cleanup day will be June 22nd. So it shouldn't be too much of, 3 communities coming into our 7 trash bags and our chipper. We are also getting a wood chipper. But it'll be exciting. Things that I get to plan for Memorial Weekend will be Georgetown Days. One thing we need to get a little bit more cleaned up is the pancake breakfast. I do have Parker and Lynette coming, so Lynette will be able to open up Guanella Pass. We'll be able to enjoy some pancakes with Parker. However, there's just some things that I need to start looking for. Like Craig, I believe you had the griddle for last year's. I didn't know if you still did or how we're supposed to make that work this year.
Yes, we can.
You got it? Cool. And I can connect with you later. I sent you an email, but I just wanted to follow up to make sure we at least have the griddle. The ingredients for the pancakes and the side meats can come later. There's also the conversation of, do we want to have canned music? That is an additional cost.
What did you say, canned music?
That's what they call it.
Yeah, just, how
I don't know.
in Strauss Park, how Jake will put some, like. DJ type
Licensely
music.
approved.
Yeah,
I know,
I just never heard that phrase before.
how do we,
you just call it can, because it's can.
Yeah.
It's pretty-
what did we do last year for music, do you recall?
I don't think we did, or so maybe for the boombox, but I don't remember ever doing it for
Okay,
Okay,
breakfast.
cool. No sound for breakfast. That answers my question. But so that will be starting at 8, around 9:30 is when we'll be cutting open the pass, and then it'll be over by 10. Nothing too crazy. On Saturday, we have the borough races. Patty got all of her paperwork in and they are all set to go. It's supposed to be a very great day. They'll be in Strauss Park after the race, just hanging out. They'll have pizzas in our lovely, what is the name? Concession stand, there we go. I couldn't remember, I'm like, food serving area. So in the concession stand, so it'd be great to see that utilized not just by us, by other organizations as well. Along with Mountain Jams will be kicking off that weekend, is that still correct?
Saturday, Memorial Day?
Yes.
Yes. I just have to make sure all my signage is good and clear. Sunday, we're having small business day. We're looking to close 6th Street and provide, something. We're still working on it. We were gonna have a dessert truck and a coffee truck, but they just pulled out. One the week before, one literally yesterday. Other things are going on, or their truck, quote unquote, exploded. I wanna see pictures of it, but just cause I'm nosy. But yeah, I don't think Kelly would approve that kind of vehicle being around anyway with those kind of issues. So we're still trying to make sure.
Could you use the concession area for that?
For which one? For Saturday?
the snacks and coffee and stuff.
They were gonna be their own food trucks and we were gonna put them at the other end, so that way we could get more attraction to the Hotel de Paris as well. Because we already had a coffee shop at the other end of Sixth Street across from the library, didn't wanna cause any issues there. But, we're still getting creative and seeing how we can help support our businesses downtown, especially since, you know, this is our big ta-da as we go into our busy season. And then going into Monday, our memorial ceremony, that is pretty standard, especially since we have to raise the flag at 12. So I'm asking everyone to gather around 11, people always travel in a little bit later. Rob Solomon will be playing music up until then. I'm trying to connect with Danny Tomlinson to speak and be our keynote speaker. Our police judge, she will be speaking, and Parker will also be there. And then Rob is seeking somebody to play tap, so at noon, we will have a little bit more than just the can playing, we can have somebody in person. But that should be a very short and sweet kind of day. Any questions on Memorial Weekend, Georgetown Day? All right.
So Rob Solomon, who's covering the licensing?
That's a great question.
Get in contact with me.
Okay.
It costs $60 a pop.
I got you. And I believe that is budgeted in our, yeah, I mean, we've got some play
You
money.
need to make sure that's somewhere you have in it, that you're partnering. So. That's how we use our CSAC ASCAP.
Wonderful. Should I just say?
It's fundraise stage, right?
Yes,
Yeah, there's so many things and,
I can make sure I get logos and everything organized.
yeah, it doesn't have to be like a big deal, it's just that you're covered in case they come and ask.
No, absolutely, absolutely.
Cause they will find us, it's huge.
And I'm making checklists and to-do lists for each of these events, since this was my first event that I kind of like literally rolled into with my walker. I don't have a full concept on this one, so these little details are things that I really do appreciate.
Just getting music stage, it's not through that. It's just, we just have to follow it again. So.
Well, that's great feedback. All right, for June, we don't have too much going on. We have the Slacker and the town's yard sale on the same day. That'll be June 22nd. Our town yard sale is typically, you know, you sign up, we make a map and people can go around, but we're trying to see how we can elevate it a little bit more this year. Capital Prize Mine has an interest to do a yard sale, and once they heard we also do one, we're gonna be collaborating with them. And then we also have lovely Strauss Park. We have so many apartments and people who have lots of clutter. Trust me, I was one of them and now fill a whole house. Don't know how that happened. But lots of people will be able to utilize Strauss Park, or even at Capital Prize Mine, he's offered people to do tables, although I do wanna note the wind might be a little rough over there. But I think that'd be a great showcase to give other people that opportunity to kind of clean up their space and add to our town's yard sale.
You might wanna reach out to the PEO because they have a big yard sale. They do that as an annual, or they try to do it as a annual fundraiser. Which was pretty successful, I think, last year, so.
Oh, yes, I bought a couple things from there. Yes. Oh, they were so lovely. They fundraise for young women's scholarships.
Did you, sorry, is there a date yet for the yard sale for the?
June 22nd. You should all remember that day. It was a great day in 1995.
Sounds like somebody's birthday.
It'll be the only hint I'll ever get. So in July, we're moving into the 4th of July. A lot of people are starting to come in and ask how could they be a part of the parade. Hearing different categories and different people being invited in, I think that will help us be able to say, hey, this is our American Prize Award, and this is our Best Local Business Award. We really want to help amp up these floats and really give these prizes for the people that show up. Of course, we always do the best car clubs. Well, they complain that we make them go 2 by 2, but it's the best to keep the parade moving. And then of course, we'll be having the community barbecue in City Park. I do want to be mindful of cleanup. That was some of the feedback last year, is we have a lot of volunteers in this town. However, it can be sometimes harder to wrangle them in, especially after an event. The cleanup shouldn't be on just 2 event organizers who are just struggling to make it through the day. So I wanna make sure that's the top priority, and if we can't find enough volunteers, I might have to ask some of our BPC members if that's okay. I just wanna put that on everyone's radar, that was the biggest feedback last year.
I thought you were volunteering.
Volunteer for cleanup day. I'll drive around town with my white truck and
Yes,
as
you
long as
will.
we get a couple of young guys who can load it, we'll be
There you
fine. But I was going to just put a suggestion out there. We will probably be done with Strauss Park before Memorial,
4th of July.
4th of July. Would there be an opportunity to do a grand opening or something, or ribbon cutting, or just something that we can say, hey, we're done?
Boy, wouldn't that be a great thing to add to 4th of July when we're trying to find?
No, I think that would be lovely with the, is it the Jetco band?
Yeah.
They asked if they could be moved to City Park, cause they don't feel that library stage gets as much following, especially after the parade and the barbecue, everybody's in other parts of our town. I think hearing that feedback plus this great idea would be wonderful.
We could do even after the time after the barbecue.
Yeah, we could have something else planned aside. from
Yeah,
this.
bring people back downtown.
And it might be too late to throw this in there, but if we did like a scavenger hunt thing, that could be a place too, where we do.
Yeah, absolutely.
Frank, are you gonna, is Cabin Creek gonna do a beer garden for 4th of July in City Park again?
That's our expectation, yeah, we just have to get into the details of it, and I guess we would coordinate with the community center on that, is that correct?
Yeah, they were the nonprofit.
Yep. Yeah, that's our
Thanks.
intention too, that's on our internal schedule.
Okay. Carry on, Ms. Jones.
So after, it's like 4th of July, does that sound good with everybody? We're moving in, okay. Other events that we have going on, a new one that we're still planning is the Olympic. I think it would be great to have some sort of like Olympic start, we're still trying to plan that. Jen Jordan just moved up to CCMRD's event planning director spot, yay! So I think that will be great to just have that straightforward conversation and get this stuff tackled. Other things that I've been trying to place in here besides like, fun games where you walk the egg on the spoon. We could always do little things like trivia to get people into the old school or people into the library, or that way we can utilize all parts of it, but we don't have to use athleticism as like our biggest strength. Our strength is all over, whether it's your brain or your body, whatever. After that, we do have plein air the next day, so I am trying to utilize the Olympic and having a lot of people within our own community around so that they can be directed, because there is some beautiful artwork, whether you're around watching them create it or whether you want to go to the event the next night. It's wonderful, and we can stay connected on how to keep that messaging going.
So the Olympics is that on Friday?
July 26th.
Is that Friday?
Yes.
Okay, thank you. Sorry. Didn't want to pull up my calendar, I was being lazy.
That's okay. It's early. Other ideas that we've been moving along with, is our stargazing opportunity. That's gonna be in this packet in just a moment. After Tours is interested in coming to town maybe once or twice a month and hosting a stargazing tour, whether that's we meet over at Strauss Park, do hot chocolate and marshmallows, walk up Rutherford Trail, or meet down by the lake, Cabin Creek and us do a side sponsor together. However, there are dates and fees that we always want to align on before we go into things, because whether it's a community event or a tourism push, these events need to always have a focus on Georgetown and how to benefit. So I mind you guys to be, open when you start reading this. I think it's very reasonable and straightforward. I think it could definitely hype up some of our events like 4th of July. If we're not interested in doing fireworks, but we want to have people in our town still, that would be a great opportunity. And a lot less than, $70,000 or $30,000 for drones and fireworks. The other thing that we're looking forward to in the summer is possibly yoga with Nancy Harrington. She is a local, usually more to Plume, but she's offering her own yoga. She has a speaker, so we could do it in the park, we could do it at Library Stage, we can get creative with what we wanna do with that. And then she's also doing a pay scale. So whether you can come as you are, can pay what you have, or even offer volunteering, I think that's something our community needs because, we all have different skill levels, we all have different interests, but this can provide a variety of things while we also start looking into other opportunities as well. Questions? Comments?
I think that exercise is a great idea. Good, get on.
I actually took his tour at Winter Park and it was really, really cool. He set up about 3 different telescopes and he can tell you about quite literally anything that you see up there. It's really fascinating. And then of course, like with this, it gives us more of a push. We do have a dark sky ordinance in a sense, but if we ever wanted to pursue a true dark sky with the city or with a true application, I do have those connections as well. Through the program, there's someone in my small group who does that. So he is actually the mentor for somebody else in my small group as Estes Park becomes dark sky certified. So this could really be like a fun destination pool that we don't have to, change our infrastructure or pay a lot of alert. Dylan can have the amphitheater and we can have our like.
Well, and I think Georgetown is already kind of like a desired place. We have friends that are into astronomy and always want to come up, always ask to come up here. So, yeah, awesome idea.
So just something else to offer our community. And then unfortunately, I did not get all of my social stats printed, so I will email those to you guys. That's the end of my big packet.
Thank you. Questions? Craig, do you have any questions, comments on Jess's report?
No,
No.
Okay.
Now I'm going more back to the agenda. Prove it.
Moving along, we're going to table the wayfinding signage update unless anyone has anything, since Kevin is not present, or we can move that on earlier. Coda, Deja.
Hello, I apologize again for not giving this to you a little earlier, although I will say you have seen this ordinance already. So, that's something, Craig, I emailed it to you. You have it completed in front of you. Would you like one? Okay, so I had mentioned this in the Board of Selectmen meeting last time, but to update you guys, Jerry and I did a little bit of research into entertainment districts in CODA, and there's some limitations in how we can set this up that really restricts the way that we talked about it. Unfortunately, you can't have a CODA where traffic can go through, so that limits our space as far as people crossing 6th Street. We have to make it so that traffic cannot go through that pedestrian area while CODA is active. So I created a map after talking to all of the liquor license holders in the area. And my proposal is the yellow for sure, and then it's like the orange maybe. I talked to Happy Cooker yesterday and they would be interested in trying it out, so they would like to participate, so just so you know about that. Jess talked to me about movie nights in the basketball court at the Georgetown School, so keeping that space open so people can walk back and forth and watch movies and go to Mountain Mamas and Grinnell Pass, and that would be cool also. So that's what that orange area is over there. I also I sent out an email to the listserv of managers in Colorado, and because a lot of them have common outdoor dining areas, and something that they mentioned to me was that you actually are not allowed to bring drinks into other establishments. It's only outside. So I know we were sort of dreaming of bringing drinks into, shopping and things like that, but that's not actually something we can do. Yeah, so I'm sad because we have this vision for it that I don't think is gonna be really possible in the way that we're hoping. However, things like movie nights that Jess is setting up, mountain jams, I think that those still stand to benefit a lot by having a common outdoor dining area. So I think it's still worth doing personally. Obviously, you guys are excited about it too, so hopefully we're still comfortable putting this in front of the Board of Selectmen. Also between the common consumption entertainment district option and CODA, I think CODA would be a better option for the main reason being that a common consumption area would require one person from every establishment that has a liquor license to participate in a controlling board. And I know that we wanted to make it as easy as possible for business owners to participate in this. I think CODA would be easier for them. So, because they would basically just have to pay to apply to be part of the CODA and expand their liquor license to cover that area, and that would be the requirement, and the Board of Selectmen would decide on the schedule and stuff like that. So, so that would be my recommendation. I do have the entertainment district ordinance option that you got last time, so if you want to pursue that, you can still do it. But this is sort of where my research has taken me, but please feel free to comment and direct in whatever way you see fit.
Is there legal liability if people do take their beverages into stores with like if somebody walks in, is there?
It's technically exiting the CODA area, so yes, it would be, I mean, you know, it's a matter of enforcement, of course, you know. John, Kane, and Idaho Springs, so it's not an issue they've really had to deal with up to this point, but it is just something we should be aware of. Because if you're exiting the CODA, technically that's not law, so, yeah, we want to be mindful of that, and the people who participate in CODA are responsible for maintaining that boundary. So,
So the onus would be on us, not on the person carrying the alcoholic beverage.
well, you know, they're always supposed to be, people. Yeah, I mean, it's their responsibility too, but the people who participate in CODA, the liquor licensees, are responsible for maintaining the barrier, so. And then the last page I have in here, Mike sent me some language on the cups, from Arvada. And it's a little different because those cups, I think, are intended to be sealed and taken home. So we probably want to adjust the warning language a little bit. But this is the legal language they're using in Arvada. These are some signs I pulled from, it is a different state actually, but I like the hands going up and down, and I thought maybe we could model it off of, we use a hand on some of our signage, don't we, for like the entrance, so, although I don't know if we changed that, because I remember Kevin talking about it. Anyway, I think it's cute, it's like up and down. We would change the coloring maybe a bit and obviously put Georgetown logo stuff on it. But just to get a little bit of a visual on what that might look like. Yes, thoughts, feelings?
Some of the homework I did for this, where it said the warning, do not open, when we did sell to-go cocktails, the only state required warning we had to put on there was consuming it in a vehicle. Because not only were we like selling these things to go off property, but for them to take them home, you know, to enjoy at home versus here, and where we were operating as well is we understand people would unseal them and drink them in the park or in, you know, the downtown district. So I kind of try to reword it above that, kind of just like bring awareness to the legalities and laws. I don't think that there's a necessity for us to have it on there, but just like having signs on the perimeters and just education, showing so that people don't think it's completely free for all. So.
I believe there was a company in town who was selling a certain can that our previous marshal had some issues with. Does that sound familiar? No, I believe it was Guanella Packs and their cans were twixed off, and when people would take them out, they were able to see people drinking them. And there was that conversation with Steve. So I think we have maybe ran into that before.
Well,
Maybe
once
not,
again,
since
like,
no one else would.
yeah, like brewery, if I go ahead and get a growler fill,
Yeah.
you know, it's gotta, you know, it's on my board, what am I gonna do with it there, and
It's the same as going to a liquor store essentially, you know?
Exactly, so what are the other?
You
homework-
should know.
Yeah, what are the homeworks they did, when that's at McGregor Square, so curious how they operated. And they operate a little bit differently, so every business is like an airport is operated and owned by one entity, even though it's like different
Mhm.
restaurants. And so it's under one liquor license, and talking to two, different establishments I stopped in. Was asked about their, take on it, this is just like staff members, they said it's pretty liberally controlled, they used to, but they don't have any more dedicated security staff, they rely on some of the hotel security staff.
Oh,
But they said they've never really seen issues, they're like, I'm sure people walk out of the perimeter plenty of times, but has not been a huge issue for them, and they don't have anything but a couple of signs right at the entrance and exits of the common area. And so, but they said it's very successful, people enjoy it, and though they're supposed to have plastic cups when they're in the Carmine's, they set them out with wine glasses and, let them hopefully come back, so.
Can I say something? I wonder if anybody's gone around to ask the businesses that don't sell alcohol, that are just regular businesses, what they think of the idea. No. I think you guys would want their feedback.
So it's pretty good.
So you all, when you went around, you only talked to the businesses that could actively participate.
Yeah, I wanted to make sure they had buy-in before we consider things, and if we're comfortable with this, then I will definitely take Jen's suggestion and go talk to people.
I think it would be smart too, just to get an idea of how many businesses already don't want beverages and ice cream cones and everything else in their stores. I think, I don't know how many, what the majority are.
I don't allow that in my story.
So I don't, yeah,
That's the bottom.
that's gonna be this kind of consistent
Yeah.
with probably a lot of the places.
We'll do a shot for the, I'm sure.
Put that with the shot in.
Yeah,
Just
I
drink
can
a
do
little
it.
first.
Finish it off, go in there.
And for the normal person, and I'm not saying that our tourism is the normal
Is
people,
actual.
but yeah, I think the common person expects like no food, beverage, in the store, especially with the boutique or whatnot.
That's why I say it's not really gonna be, it's not a big, oh my God, don't forget it, then we're not gonna do it type
I
thing.
want them to bring
Yeah.
their beer in.
Yeah. Craig, do you have any comments?
My only comment would be that we definitely include everything that's in yellow and orange. Other than that, I think it all looks really good. Thanks, Acacia, for all your hard work.
Absolutely. Oh, another thing on this map, there's little X's. Mary and I talked a little bit about, so the space that I've indicated is basically barriers to traffic. Because it doesn't, we wanna block streets in a way that people aren't like driving halfway in and then having to do a little U-turn on the street. Which can obviously be adjusted, but I put little X's on like maybe where we want the signage to be, because we don't actually need people, like people aren't gonna be walking all the way down like Rose Street, for example, towards Seventh. So if we could put signs a little earlier, and that was based on Mary's suggestion, so that's something that I put on this map. Well, we didn't talk about all those spaces specifically, but.
One of the areas that isn't isn't included in here is Clear Creek Inn.
Oh, okay, yeah, so another thing that Jerry and I discovered is that places that are zoned for residential areas are not permitted to have codas, and Clear Creek Inn is in the mixed use district, so. And Jerry's supposed to check on that, but I haven't heard from him. So that was, and he recommended that we don't do that, just his advice. But he was gonna check on that for me, so.
So then I think we would like to know, I would like to know how down the line an establishment like that could be included in some way, how can we encourage them to be a part of it? Even if something were to go into the old location of mountain mamas, you know, your type thing, or someone who is not within this area. But somehow wanted to be able to participate, like Cooper's, Cannon Creek, any other establishment that's, you know, down Argentine.
Well, one of the issues is if we can't cross anywhere where we have traffic, so we have a road closure all the way through it. If you're trying to connect them.
Are you saying, or like maybe they could set up Space and Strauss Park or something?
I don't know, I'd
Yeah.
like us to explore those options, because the questions are gonna come up.
Why am
How do we
I?
make
Yeah.
it
So
just-
let's not be running after it, you know, saying, oh shit, sorry, we didn't think about you.
Well, no, I said, but like, I think it's like, unless we close off the whole district, but like the street closure plan is already engineered to.
I don't know, and I get the street closure part, but I'd like us to be thoughtful and to be able to, you know, offer the opportunity. The old school might want to,
Yeah.
you know, be having an event that, you know, and maybe their inclusion is limited, but how would that look?
Well, that was the question I had two, but I had one.
I was reading your mind.
No, it says liquor license holders, does that mean, does that preclude people who are, or exclude people who are, temporary license holders, event holders?
I think so.
Okay.
That's a
You
general
have to get
question.
probably a special event permit, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah, but if I have a permit, does that make me a liquor license holder, or is it permanent license holders? That's what I would love to.
I think it's permanent,
Yeah.
yeah, and special events, you know, we can include all those people for any special events that we want to.
Cause it'd be nice to like, you know, we've talked about mountain jams and being an arrangement. Possibly with a for-profit business, but also making an arrangement where we take a cut or whatever, or if we decide to do like some kind of a concert there, then it's our liability insurance for the same thing. Could we, in our temporary event license,
Mhm.
but I think that the language looked like it was sort of excluded. Okay,
But special
We
events
can
is
figure
still
it out.
possible, and if we have this coda set up, you know,
yeah,
then coda being a regular thing that we're doing,
we just.
With our
want the office
permanent
or special
structures.
event
right?
days.
And then
Okay.
special events are easier because we have it kind of set up already. I think, you know, that's sort of how I was, you know,
Yeah.
it's, the Strauss Park option would be really cool, but they don't have a permanent establishment there to have a liquor license from, so.
Makes perfect sense. I mean, it's the law, is the law, is the law, so.
But so
The
let's
only other
follow the
question-
vision though, so that it includes all of those, sorry.
No, I just had a weird question. I was going down below my notes and I overheard, that someone had trouble with a screw off cap for beer.
Yeah.
There was an incident that I've heard about that the certain to-go cups being screw lids wasn't
I can
appropriate.
go to the liquor store and buy myself a bottle of Jack at any moment that has a screw off
Which
top.
is what I,
So,
I think it's an overreaction of someone who was.
yeah, okay.
it was just feedback that we need to keep in our mind.
Yeah, that's a good thing, but I just want to establish that we can get booze at any time that's easily
That goes
accessible.
back to personal responsibility, which we're never going
Which
to.
I think we can.
Did the hotel have a liquor,
Who?
the hotel that put a museum?
No,
No.
just now, the state of Colorado just now did an arts center license and
Okay.
another kind of nonprofits where we can build wings. But insurance is hard enough right now for historic buildings, so, cause we're looking into the possibility of that, but it might be too expensive. to do.
Cause I was just wondering if they could be included a little bit more, but they're already going down Sixth Street with that closure,
Yeah,
so that's
we do the same thing we're doing.
cool.
I mean,
Yeah.
Anything else on CODA?
Does anyone have any comments on the actual language that they want me to make changes to before I bring it to the Board of Selectmen? And you can send these comments to me later if you don't want to do it right now.
I love it when something-
I think it's good, right?
It's like you went to.
Maybe with that signage for the, to the thumbs down one, I mean, emphasizing no alcohol beyond the point. So it's
Yeah.
clear.
Well, that's true.
Yeah, it's like straight for like, this is like, I understand looking at the graphic, but we're under precondition, what we're trying to message here.
Right.
And then, should we maybe shorten the hour to straight 8 AM to 11, just give it that full buffer, and I don't see much going on after 11 in this town.
Sure, yeah, this
It's
is,
easier to read.
yeah,
Yeah, we know
well-
legality, go all the way up to 59, but
the hours will need to be adjusted completely, because I'm sure we don't wanna be closing the streets off every day from 8 to 11, right? So, yeah, we'll need to, that'll be a discussion, but we can establish the coda and then adjust those hours afterwards, after the ordinance is established, because that schedule is determined by the Board of Selectmen each year, whatever, however often they want, basically, so, I have to think about that signage as far as what we want it to permanently say, because we might not have the hours on there at all, if we want to be more flexible, like summertime, yeah.
Maybe fine. And this is not special event driven, it's just all the time, right?
It would be, there'd be a schedule, so I know like in the summer, I think mountain jams are regular, just like they happen every.
Every
Thursday or
Saturday.
something. Every Saturday, okay,
From 2 to 3:30.
okay.
Free, join us.
Yay. So yeah, like we probably want it every Saturday at least, so we can have that kind of thing, and then.
I actually have a question, sorry. If we do car clubs on that day, that would be a little bit difficult with the street closed, or would we be able to park cars on the street beforehand? Cause some of those, some events we do have like car clubs coming in on Saturdays that I told them they could have 6th Street. Yeah.
What about, the truckers? That goes down, the road street, what impacts do you have on that if you close that off? I know you can, I know you can certainly drive around on, 4th or 3rd, but I don't know about trucks. I would just think you aware of that.
It would certainly be a consideration, especially during more than regular work week, but.
And that's one, yeah, that.
But that, I mean, but we don't want to exclude, the opportunity for something like that to be going on. So, and I would imagine with the car clubs, as long as it's a specified time that they're getting in there and parking, and then shut down.
We didn't
But
cover the coda probably at that one.
I think we need slide out signs so that we can put in the. That's my.
I have a suggestion for you though, before you speak, because I just remember 2020. And before you speak to the general store plans, please make sure that you have a bunch of stats and a bunch of anecdotals from Idaho Springs, but you have stats on what a walking district works for. And, Arvada, Idaho Springs has done theirs. They have really great walking areas too, and they're really nice people up in the north of the state.
That's what it's part of.
Fort Collins, who does a really good job with that. And I have this, they're old now, so I would just make sure that you can, they may not listen to you, some people just have it in their head, but the majority of the people who will, if you can present them, I just suggest you do it, because it was way contentious.
We had some pushback on closing the street.
I have my head over.
And then actually, I do have one more request too, is that can we make sure that on days that we have the CODA operational, that we have really clear signage as to detours for Winell Pass?
Some do.
Because our street is dirt and I don't want them driving up our street, kicking
Those that
stuff up.
are on the definition.
We used to have a rule, and I know we don't have to have it anymore, but it used to be a good guideline of not to shut the street down over the summer because of Guanella Pass. Obviously, we can do what is best, but just err on that caution.
Yeah,
You can always pave your street.
oh, can you pave it? Is there money for that?
We have endless.
We
time.
do not want to create another concrete jungle that creates a heat sink and also is terrible for runoff and percolation. There are other techniques to use for the road though, that will hold down the dust and at the same time create a natural environment that we've managed to maintain all this time.
We like the dirt road, and our little neighborhood has also agreed that we like having the barriers on.
It was a joke.
As long as other people don't drive down.
I would give it all that.
You need a permit if you're gonna drive.
Yeah.
Anything else on CODA? Any suggestions, please email them to Kasia.
Yeah, and for sure, the schedule will need to be very carefully considered so that we're not interfering with Winella Pass traffic or trucks or car events. But that doesn't need to be established ahead of time. So just just the thought.
I think some of those thoughts and plans though should be in your repertoire when you talk to the business owners, because the question is gonna come up, well, what happens during leaf season and all the traffic that's coming down and, you know, so. We should be coming with that, some kind of consistent statement. Craig, anything else on Coda you wanna jump in on?
My only 2 cents would be, and it's really related to the comment about the pushback we've gotten on closing Sixth Street before, and we will, and we'll just certainly need to plan those carefully, and we'll get pushback whether we do something that's good or bad. But I really like the possibilities that this represents personally. So that is all I've got to say on the matter.
Do you know if there's any way to data track the number of bodies aside from like sales tax revenue?
I can do that with the AI placer that the county's tourism board just got.
Oh, yeah.
They got some really cool fancy stuff. We might have to pay for it, just,
If we could data track for one summer,
yeah.
that would be amazing.
What's really nice is you can actually set your boundary. We were talking about this for Christmas birthday, but you can actually set your boundary and look at where people go, like before, where they go after, cell phone data, how long they stayed in somewhere, if they stayed overnight, like there's a slew of stuff that we could probably tap into.
Can you bring the price, can you look at that, bring the price and stuff for next meeting?
I just have to ask Cass, yeah.
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
Nice.
Okay,
Okay,
thank you. Moving on, economic development, just a call.
Okay, there's not much to touch on this because I wanted, do you guys remember this conversation we had? Gosh, I don't even remember the meeting it was, but it was the meeting before pond hockey, because we were gonna talk about it at the next meeting, but then the next meeting ended up being pond hockey prep and then pond hockey recap. So I just wanted to kind of just like circle back to to make sure, I mean, if we don't wanna talk about it, we're fine, but I just don't want it to be hanging out there. We had kind of just started discussing that the initial purpose of the PPC was to do event planning, but since Jess has been hired, that purpose has kind of shifted. And so did we want to revisit our purpose to be more focused on economic development? Amanda was gonna talk to somebody, I think, I don't remember her name, but at Clear Creek County, who does economic development.
Lindsay.
Yes, I think that's Lindsay, to come talk to us. Do we still want to look into that or just kind of steady on through the summer and visit it later?
I think our name says everything. We're a promotions commission, not an economic development corporation. We haven't.
Well, then do we want to coordinate with the county?
Because we're not a chamber, we're a promotions commission. There's a difference,
Okay.
in my opinion, I'm one voice.
We did have some conversation though, a couple of months back, and, I know our chair has an opinion that he's concerned about that. We were going to address that at a later meeting. We never seemed to find the time, so it isn't totally off the table. I mean, I'm glad that you brought it back to us. So I think we just need to put some effort into actually sitting down and having that conversation, perhaps having Lindsay here. In my personal opinion, we have seen how the county tourism has provided or not provided for us in the past, and I don't know if Georgetown wants to rely on the county economic development to drive our needs.
Doesn't that mean that we have to change exactly who we are then? From a promotions,
Is the time presenting itself where BPC needs to adjust the focus because,
or maybe that would be a larger conversation for the board that you're sitting on, the other, for the select people. Because you're changing a promotions commission to another kind of commission, so you would have to dissolve this commission, become something else, in my opinion. Because promotions is an title.
it doesn't mean that it would come
Or we
off
change
the
our
table for that.
Well, yeah, but I also think it's like, there's room on how you define promotions. Like promotions could be promoting something through supporting it,
Well, that's what,
through providing resources.
they're very, I will say this, my language for the visitor center cannot promote this campaign. We cannot legally do it in our mission. We have to say that we support historic preservation through vitalization. But we cannot, promoting the town is something that we can't do. We're not a town promotions group because we're not a chamber. And that's a very specific definition. And those are my concerns there.
Well, and I do think it's interesting if you're talking about, you know, maybe county that isn't gonna be helpful for us, then maybe localize something would be.
We also talked about at one point, we had Main Street started here too, which does economic development. And there was a lot of work that went into the Main Street program for a while, and I would love to know where that is. And that's a whole separate thing.
Come up with, wasn't Cindy Neely exploring
Neely
something
did it, yeah.
more recently with that?
I'll follow with it.
Okay.
I'm not, I'm throwing out my thoughts, and honestly, you know, my mind is easily changed, so those are my thoughts. And I'm not opposed to it, these are, you know, we're a promotions commission, does that lead us to a farmer? Does it undercut the county? Sometimes the county focuses too much on Idaho Springs, although we went to that. It was nice to see a lot of Georgetown representation at that last CCEDC meeting, or not CCEDC, that's the.
But then,
No, that's it.
but then what was the follow-up from them other than that Georgetown went down there?
Yeah.
That was my argument on that. We
Although-
went to them and are they following up with us, but we have to give them the
Are
opportunity.
we proactive in that, you know, and I've made some outreach and stuff, and we've done some different things, but I need to get some ducks in a row for my own personal portion of it, but at the same time. For us, I think too, our businesses reaching out individually, because we're a promotions commission, we're not individual businesses and representation, so. You know, we do help them, but, so then that's where I wonder. Maybe that's the focus of
So do we want to, we're obviously not gonna have the time to discuss this today. Do we want to put this as an agenda item? Sure. You know, next month after, whatever, so that we are revisiting this? Because this was a conversation that we started and left pending. Yes, sir.
Yeah, I was gonna say, even in our selectmen meetings, we're discussing ARPA funds. And one of the suggestions or topics was creating a business promotion fund to target businesses downtown. Because of our empty storefronts, that we could create something as an incentive in order to specifically target the kinds of businesses we want to be here. And so that's something that could tie into this, you know, like we created a fund especially for that. It could tie into an economic development category of this. So it's something I think we should be talking about.
Because one of the discussions too was like, could we create like a centralized, like a website of just like all the available storefronts and what their rents are and stuff like that, like there's no, I don't even know how to find what storefronts are available. And like, we're interested in starting a business years from now, but I mean, if I wanted to start one now, I don't even know how to find a storefront.
Craig, do you have anything you wanna weigh in on this?
No, I need to think more about it before I weigh in. It doesn't sound like we're taking any action on it, right?
Right, no, so we'll.
Yeah.
Let's stop the conversation for today because we're all kind of speaking off the top of our heads.
Sorry.
No, go ahead.
I would love to know, because you've got interesting ideas and so, and you know, the thing here that I just am learning about now. I would love to know what you would like to do with that, like you have. You know, you just brought up something really interesting, you know, a centralized portion of it. I'd love to see like an email or something that has that kind of stuff outlined so that we know where we're going with this. And then I'll talk to Cindy, I guess, and find out about, because every now and then I bring up Main Street anyway. And so I'll do mine a little bit and try to find something out about Main Street. But if we had what you're talking about too, a centralized fund. So if we start putting that into some sort of a document that we can track, and you're an analyst, that we can track and then use it as a checklist to see, well, that's gonna work in this way, and then now we have a next step. Because it's very hard, we tend to be very, and this is something I think Craig has been trying to drive home, is it gets nebulous, and then we bring it up again, and then you just get my opinion off the cuff of, well, we're a promotions commission, it concerns me, we've become too much of a chamber. But at the same time, like, that little fight, you know, and then it's not some big scary thing, are we changing our entire mission? Does it make sense to you?
Oh, yeah.
And it would, for the way my brain works, it would help me immensely. And then I can go, oh, you know what, I can move in that direction. Or, oh, that would, or someone brilliant, one of the brilliant people who's sitting in this room, could then take off and go in another direction a bit. Maybe that's what we can do better for brain writing instead of brain story.
Yeah, so let's bring it back next time.
Yeah.
Okay.
Thank you, sorry.
Thank you, no, don't be sorry. See, so we do have some energy on this topic.
Sure, there's some fun things I just heard.
That was it for me then. Okay.
Christmas market, who wants to talk about that?
Ooh,
Oh.
All right, so I'm putting on my HDI hat here for a second, just to throw this out here, and Bob, I'm glad you're here, and Craig, listen up, please. Trying to, just a little bit of planning. The idea is obviously vendors in Strauss Park, the tent at, Rue de Noel for beer garden. And having additional opportunities for vendors by bringing in pods, 8x10 pods, maybe up to 10 of them. Putting a few of them on Sixth Street here, 3 or 4 of them on Sixth Street. So they're lockable containers. Vendors could put a canopy out front if they wanted to draw a little bit more attention, that could be anchored a little bit better to the strong metal pod that's sitting there. And then adding another 6 or so in the parking lot of Strauss Park. So that we would be expanding the vendor area of Strauss Park. The concern is providing electricity to those additional vending spaces. Here, out in front of Town Hall, we have the power on the side, so that isn't an issue. Adding additional power to Strauss Park to run people's heaters and all that kind of stuff. We would probably need to bring in a small generator over there. And then this goes back.
From a load standpoint, maybe,
Okay,
we will be adding a 50 amp, 240 volt. Basically, it's like an RV type receptacle. We'll have a 120, 120 duplex ground fault plug and a 50 amp, 240 volt plug, and it will be right on the, right next to the restroom.
okay,
And I will make sure that we go ahead and put we'll put either a pipe or a channel or something that we could run the cable from that plug out into the parking lot, so that we have, without having to go over the sidewalk, we'll go under the sidewalk. So I'll just make sure we put a sleeve or something in when we do the concrete work for that.
so it's a thought to
The
expand,
power is,
yeah,
well, I mean, we had talked about having an RV receptacle, that we could plug stuff into if we wanted to put a food truck or something in the parking lot. We're calling it the food truck outlet, but the only potential issue there is we have 350 amps of load served from those panels. So we turn all the heat on, everybody plugs everything, all they can into the outlets and stuff, we may start exceeding that, which means we would need to bring in a generator.
okay.
But I mean, that's something we could, we could figure out when we get to that.
And I would say Strauss Park is the biggest draw.
Oh, yeah, well, the heat, I mean,
Yeah.
you've got, the electric heat is a big draw.
But there's been talk over the past couple of years of expanding some possibilities, temporary possibilities of vendor space over there, so I just wanted to throw that out there. We've talked to Kelly so that he's got this, vision in mind of, with the size and all, the pods, we'll call them niches. So it sounds more Christmassy. They're 8x10, so they'll be basically the same size provided that everyone else is getting. Unfortunately, Craig had to jump off, but what I did want to kind of nail him down, and we've talked about it with the town in the past too, is if this is going to be continued use space in the parking lot next to Hotel de Paris, is it worth it for permanent power to be, available as opposed to getting the generator time after time after time? Now, that might not be a possibility in time for this year, but I'm just throwing it out there. So other than that, first 2 weekends in December, as always, the horse and wagon is going to be here, la, 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 la. And that's all I got for Christmas market. So that's the new twist.
That's cool.
So.
I believe it's fall, la, 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 la.
I like that.
Are we gonna try and start an
Maybe you
annual
can-
ornament? Are we gonna try and start an annual?
Ornament, yeah, we can definitely.
Maybe we can, put some kind of garland around to make it look like Christmas presents.
We could wrap them up.
Right.
Well, and so, yeah, there's a lot of possibilities for the vendors too, to put a lot of, you know, their banners or, you know, Christmas style decorations on the outside and everything, so,
Sounds good.
anyway.
So the Christmas tree stand in there, decorated. So Christmas trees, there you go.
We did sell a few last year.
What they,
What do they want?
Really look.
I'm looking up pop-up shop pods, and trying to figure out how to do.
Are they shipping containers?
So look at the one in front of Beth's new house, that the drive box, that's what we're talking about.
Are you
An 8
shipping
by 10
container?
size.
I
Pardon?
got it, like,
Yeah,
I need to look.
drive down there.
the comments for it.
It's a pod, you would, you know, put all your
It's a pad.
stuff into, yeah.
And you
okay.
sell out of it.
Yeah, and that would be your vendor space, but allowing the canopy to draw a little bit, but
And if you put
the canopy is really there for our benefit, so that it attracts, it has some color and vibrancy for us. Some on here, in front of the head of Cooperstown Mall, not blocking any of the storefronts except for down this place, you know, so. Good luck. And then the inside is around the park, so that they can be lined up, kind of, depending on the configuration of the parking lot, because that is kind of a big play in our mind, but only like 6. But that'll add lights,
Right against this, you know, right along the
kind of
sidewalk.
where they are now, kind of where the parking spaces are now.
Yeah, well, right along that, you know, from the handicap in, and, you know, maybe put something on it, because you're gonna have to keep that fire lane open, so you're gonna really have to get, you know, a fire truck in behind the,
And that's why Kelly's in on this conversation.
Yeah. right.
Yep. Anyway, town administrator report, Mr. Crowe.
well, I got my brain going crazy right now. The selectmen were looking at possible projects for ARPA funds. And these, what we've determined, have to be capital related. So they can't just necessarily be programs and things like that, but they can capital. So this power pole opportunity could be something, you know, so Bob and I will work together on that. But we're in May. Can you believe it? It's hard to believe we're in May. And we're probably still gonna have another 10 more snowstorms. So our staff is getting, you know, it's a good thing, the snow, we still need the moisture and it melts fast now. So that's a good thing. So the days are crazy, warm, cold, warm, cold. But they're starting to transition now to repair roads. And so you'll start to see that. Potholes are forming everywhere just because that's the freeze thaw. We are in the process of filling potholes. To fix a pothole requires a lot more maintenance. Currently, the equipment that addresses that is our motor grader, and that is in the shop. And hopefully we will get, they're assessing of how much repair and maintenance needs to be done on it. The good thing about it is they have the cab off. And that's the most expensive part of the repairs is it's a lot of labor intense. So they take the cab part off, then they're gonna change all the hydraulic hoses and stuff. But then there's other things that they're assessing to keep this in good condition. This is our only piece of equipment that can grade our roads. So we should have that back in a month. Okay, so that's when you'll start to see us doing significant road projects, grading. So what we're gonna be doing in the meantime is we just added 2 water bars to direct the water coming down the Rutherford Trail, which then goes down 3rd Street, and then it just keeps down road. I mean, it's a way that the water's going, and we're trying to divert the water earlier, higher up. So the water bar is like a diagonal area. The water's coming down, hits that, and then takes it right back into the creek. So we added 2 this week, 2 water bars. We have also cut the Y that's on the curb, the concrete pan curb that directs water down 4th Street where the school is. And years ago, they added millings to the top of that. The millings run down because the water's pouring that down. It gets clogged into that drain. Then that drain backs up and it goes right into the school. So every year we've had to do this. And so this time we cut it at the top. So the water's no longer gonna be going down that hill. We've also been scraping the millings off with our skid steer that we just got. And this will help with the school kids, all the as they call them kiddos. So that's the technical term I hear around here. So they fall a lot and they bruise their knees. And it's a tradition in Georgetown, so we're trying to eliminate that. So they've been scraping that off to get the millings off, and I think the plan would be to just have grass grow, or some kind of more bouncy kind of material like at the bottom of the hill around their playground area. So that's in the process right now, working on. We are gonna be cutting, once we get the grader back, we're gonna be cutting down the roads in certain areas, like Biddle is probably 6 to 8 inches higher than it normally should be. And so we're gonna start grading this down and working on some drainage. I'm gonna try to target drainage areas, because if we do our study, it's gonna be really expensive. However, I can get an engineer to look at focused areas and start coming up solutions of how we can do that. 2nd Street and 3rd Street, we're gonna try to correct the drainage in that area. We're gonna be doing a big paving project this summer, which we started it last year, but we ran out of funds, and that was Main Street from 14th to Clear Creek Drive. We were able to put a pan in, but now we're gonna connect the asphalt to the pan, and it'll be sloped so that it goes right into that. That'll be paved before July 4th. So they're gonna come earlier this time to have that stuff done as opposed to later. We're also gonna be doing a paving project at the end of Argentine, closer to the county line where the water treatment plant is. It's really rough, and we have lots of events and bicyclists that come through there. And I'm surprised that they stay on their bikes because it's really bad. But we are gonna pave that section that's towards the end. It's probably gonna be about 200 or 300 feet worth. We're also gonna fix the pothole or the right in front of the fire station where we had a water main this winter. I think it was around December near the Christmas market. We had a bad water main that will be fixed as well during that time. So we got lots of road projects coming along. We did get a new skid steer, and they are driving around like it's a trophy right now. So another good thing about it is we have a snow box for snow removal, and we have not been able to use that. This machine, we've already tested it this past snowfall when we had 5 or 6 inches, and it works like a charm. And I even posted on Facebook because I was so happy about it. But we were able to clear Main Street so much faster than we normally can. So 6th Street, yeah, no. Yeah, we cleared 6th Street in record time, but it's wide and it can hold a lot, and we just push it into an area here. So those are great projects that we're working on. We are still working with Excel. They did get their watershed protection permit number 1, which is it's a past project because they already did the elbow disconnect, but it officially allows them to do that now. And there's a trash rack removal or replacement. They're going from 1-inch screen holes to 3-inch screen holes in order to keep things flowing faster and not get so clogged up. We did have a big issue. Excel has agreed to notify the town anytime that they are gonna be changing the water. From up top to even Forebay, like when they release water, they're supposed to call us. And that was a commitment in a notification process. Well, they failed to do it again. And it created havoc in our water treatment plant. They had to do 50-something backflow changes. And Ryan went berserk, and so now I've sent the message back to Excel saying, this is why we're frustrated, because we've agreed to a system and now you're not following it. And so they're trying to trace their steps of what went wrong again. So hopefully we'll get this worked out, but that is in the process. Excel is also you may have heard them, but they're going around clearing power line areas. So they have a tree company that they're working with. I can never say it right, but it sounds like Asplund or something.
That sounds good.
Okay. You look at it going, I wonder if I'm saying this right. But they're all over town clearing trees that are near power lines. We've also asked them to address one that's on Spring Street that's really close to a power line and appears that it's dead, and they're gonna be working on that one too. So these are just projects around town. Bob Hamilton and I are working on projects down Argentine Street, trying to change the lighting systems and some of them that are not matching the rest of it. And so Bob's got a spreadsheet of which ones that need to be changed, and how much this is gonna cost. So we're working on that. Cindy Neely is spearheading the project down at Argentine North Project. That's where we're adding a sidewalk on the east side of Argentine that will help connect for mobility, walking mobility, and just getting those who are down at the lake more closer into our business district area. They are gonna be Comcast and Lumen are burying the lines soon. I wanna say in the next week or two. That will go on the other side of Argentine, the west side. There's a 30-foot right of way the town has. The road is gonna be shifting over a little bit because the road pinches the right of way all the way towards 22nd Street. So we're gonna move it and we're gonna add a roundabout right there. And that will be a traffic calming device. It'll be a smaller roundabout, but it will be good to kind of keep people from going 50 plus down that road. We did add a police vehicle down there to try to, disguise as if we're patrolling the area, but.
It looks like Google.
It does.
Speed trap coming up,
Yeah.
you know who's in there.
Yeah, no, it's great.
Public record.
It works for those who don't know the area. For the others, I've seen people like, I know what that is. Oh, good. So, that will start. And then once Lumen and Comcast bury their lines, then XL will do theirs after that. And then they will take out the 8 poles that are going along. And the poles are the ones that's really close, 1.5 feet from Argentine Street, which are, they're like they're safety hazards, and they recommend, because they were supposed to be temporary poles that's turned into long-term poles. They will now be removed. Yeah, so that's coming. And that's not a dime being charged to town. That's just, we have in our contract with them, once we have to reclaim our right of way, they're obligated to do that, and we've given notice to do that. So that's working. We're also gonna be putting some other traffic calming devices around town. So John is working on coming up with a plan at 7th and Brunel area. So it was a stop sign. We've taken that stop sign out. However, we're gonna put in some kind of on the north end of that intersection so that trucks can still make the turn. However, we'll put some kind of, it'll be a temporary permanent calming device, but where you'll have a base and then we'll have things sticking out of it that if something hits it, it will just flip over and come right back up. But it'll also from a distance, it'll cause your mind to want to slow down towards that area. We'll put one there. We'd like to put one near 14th in Maine as well. Since we paved Maine, it's great. However, the unintended consequences are, it's a 15 zone that people drive faster than 15. So we're gonna try to create a way similar to that where people see the visual and it'll make them slow down as they approach towards that. Rose Street coming down off of Quinella Pass is another area that we're considering doing something because people do go really fast through there. I saw somebody the other day, it was actually Monday night, when I was in the community center, a car flew down there, probably going 50. And I was surprised, and they just ran straight through 6th Street. And I was stunned, like, how did they not hit somebody?
They do something similar, where is that? It's Rose and 9th, I think, where they drive incredibly fast on their way by a car.
I have to look at that one too.
Blow through a stop sign and it's.
Does it
for
fit
some
with
reason,
the
I-
stop sign?
So in other words, on Monday night, you need to be open on Mondays and you can, slow the traffic down, they can stop.
Yeah.
But don't be in the road.
Well,
They won't stop you.
Sundays is the worst.
Yeah, so
Maybe coming
Maybe
down.
put more speed.
Yeah.
All the way across.
So we're looking at those things right now, and, I'm trying to think of anything else. we're gearing up for so many events. But we're excited. Our staffs are in high morale right now and we're getting projects done. So it's fun. Lots of stuff. We're all working together. And so, questions?
Is there a deadline of when ARPA funds have to be spent?
We have to allocate them by this summer. And then we have a year after that to have them spent accordingly. So we did purchase the skid steer and we're doing the motor grader. That's the only things that we've allocated funds for. All the other things we are considering right now, we're bringing to the board and they're walking through exactly kind of and prioritizing which ones are the most important. And we're considering all options right now. Nothing else has been taken off the list, although we have been able to remove things that they're ineligible for those funds. We've removed, or we put them in the ineligible category, but, so, no, I don't know if you have any comments too.
No. We're gonna have a 10 o'clock siren here pretty soon, so we're gonna be done before that, but we need to move on. Closed businesses, Gary, you added that to the agenda.
Yeah, I wanted to have this put on the agenda. My concern is with all the businesses that are closed that nobody ever shows up to. And all the other vacant buildings, which is in on 7th Street. I had a discussion with, Rick yesterday about what we can do to fix this problem. Because I get complaints from not only the other merchants, it's not fair to us, when we're keeping our storefronts and keeping our hours open. And then we have half the rest of the downtown that's vacant. So, and I'm getting a lot of complaints from visitors that are coming in. They're always complaining that, how come all these businesses are closed? So I don't know what the answer to that is, so. I wanted to bring it up to the commission and find out if you guys have any ideas on how we can fix the problem.
The point is that half of them are businesses, but they're just not open. And then some of them are vacant storefronts that don't have anybody.
Right.
Is there a positive or negative, I don't know, consequence that can come forward to get them? Because without like a fine or a reward, it's gonna be tough. Because I think we've discussed before, you have business owners and you have hobbyists. And I struggle with the same thing on not telling them they should be open, but just trying to ask them questions to get a better understanding of like, hey, like, why are your hours set this way? Or how come we're having such difficulty? Is it employment? Is it your own timing? Or you get a slew of answers. Some, yes, are excuses, some are valid, but I don't know what would make everyone happy.
Can that be added to your next business merchant visits? As you know, we've had this conversation over and over again. This isn't a mall where they have a contract where they're required to be open X days and X amount of hours. These are individual business owners, property owners, and there's nothing that controls that. So
I would be really interested in having like a document that says what their issues are with having longer hours, so then we can kind of.
Well, you're going longer hours, and I'm just wondering.
Well, no, that's what I mean, that's what I mean, open it up.
Okay, yeah,
But I would like to see a list of the reasons to kind of see if there's a common theme and how we can address it.
I think, Gary, even any of your anecdotal information in talking to your fellow merchants, you know, whatever the issue is, you know, is helpful. You know, Diane can certainly weigh in on that. You know, you want the best bang for your buck, but yeah, so we can compile that, and maybe that's almost a conversation that we put when we're talking, we can combine that a little bit with the economic development there.
Going into.
A business license, if they're not gonna be open, don't give them a business license. So.
Well, right now, we're not set up.
Maybe a bookstore.
To do that.
Yeah, chamber.
Yeah.
That's what chambers do.
And then how many storefronts are vacant? Like how many? businesses
The
can
first
come
block,
in?
there's only 3 businesses that are consistently open. The rest of them are totally vacant, which is just killing the downtown.
Yeah, it'd be awesome to get numbers on, like actual numbers and addresses and stuff on this.
My question is it government, you know,
Sorry, Jeff.
certainly we can, did I interrupt you? I thought you finished.
No, you're fine. I'll discuss my project later.
You know, there's this like big gap that we always have, because we're always talking about this, which are economic development, whatever, so we can do what we can to support these people, but at the same time, I think it's peer pressure, I'm sure, it's definitely peer pressure, the only thing that's gonna work, unless we decide to do chamber, because otherwise you have big government stepping in and saying, you have these hours, you have to do this stuff, and all that we're doing is begging, and it's been, you know, it's the thing I noticed, the first, like, I'm here 14 years now, it's new, but at the same time, like, it's the first thing I noticed. Everybody on Sixth Street parks in front of their store, and half the stores weren't open, and the windows weren't clean. And those are the 3 steps of business, of like free primary things, and then you walk into 2-8 from around. That's, a lot of that's improved. But you know, if you have a business and you're renting it out, and you have this tiny little storefront that's hard enough to make it per square foot work to support the person who owns the store, let alone support a staff. And then the rent is outrageous, so who's that on? Is that on the owner of the business who's not advertising out to try to do their part to fill their own shop, their own space, or is it on us? Is you not showing up for your business, not doing your part to take care of your business or be there if your staff isn't there? Is it on a governmental agency, or is it on that promotes you, or is it on you? And I think that stuff comes from peer pressure, that comes from all of us looking at each other and saying, why aren't you open? And I know that one of the businesses, because the last time we had this conversation, I know that someone on this commission got what for from one of the business owners. And, you know, about, I can't stay open unless I have $300 a day, I can't do this, I can't do that. You know, I can't either. And I'm about to run from here to go work the floor until I can get some staff in there and run the lots. And you know, people think that because we're a nonprofit, we have some kind of funding that's not existing. What do we do to make sure that happens? What do we do to make sure that people feel that sort of pressure? It's challenging, because if I were the only person too, and you're trying to stay open 7 days a week and you're trying to the store and you're not making enough to make yourself a cup of coffee. You know, but then at the same time, what about self-promotion? And maybe that's where we can step in and help them with their own self-promotion, with marketing expertise, with saying, you know, look, you're gonna put a little money behind this, and this is a guerrilla method for doing this. I don't see you on any social, I don't see you say, you know, that kind of thing. I just. And getting data, but it's the same thing that we've been beating our head against the wall for years and years and years, but it's, I think, Gary, it's you talking and saying, why aren't you open? It's you saying, you are hurting my business neighbor.
Yeah, I've talked to them a number of times and they just.
They just don't,
I've had this conversation.
I know, we have all done it, you know, we try to make sure,
Yeah. And I'm so disappointed, I'm, next year is my 25th anniversary and I'm thinking about closing my store.
I know, she's saying.
Because I'm really tired of what's going on downtown, so.
What is maybe I should send out a little form to get you guys' opinions on some things, because I think the negative aspect, I always get pushback, but maybe there's some sort of positive incentive. I've done marketing meetups and nobody's come to me or taken me up on my offers to show them social media. I've explained to them I'm not their social media person, but utilize me. I'm here to help. I think there's just a lot of different things that I can say that we've all heard before. So I think until we start getting a little more creative and maybe pushing it in the positive light of, this is how you contribute to our community instead of this is how you hurt our community. I think maybe that could help a little bit, but also, you know, everyone likes their ego fluffed a little. And if we show them that they are important and they are the heart of the downtown, that could help. But at the same time, until the money really comes in for them, which comes when they're open, you know, we're gonna see some pushback in every direction, but that doesn't mean we don't keep trying as well.
Well,
Or
on that
me.
note, instead of being there against the wall with the same wine, right, it's the same wine. Well, I'd rather wine. But on that note, why don't we come together separately, or you and me, or whatever, and then think of what we can do to help incentivize them and help take advantage of, you know, our wonderful new employee. And, you know, do we say, look, if you're gonna be there, we do a marketing buy together. If you're gonna be there, we do this together. If you're gonna be there, we do this together, you know, maybe that, see my mind changes.
It's, you know, it's instead of saying, hey, can you give us a discount? How do you wanna be involved? You know, it doesn't just say, this is it, yes or no, it says, how can you help us get creative? And I think that's the way that I've been trying to help change and shape some opinions, or at least when I come in and how they greet me. You know, nothing's gonna change overnight, but I think maybe shifting that conversation.
Do we have contact information for all those like hobbyist businesses? Like if we had like just a meeting with those specific people, or like hosted a meeting with all business owners to
Yeah,
talk
we have
about
the
this?
business license list on the
Yes,
website, all the
I have that too. I've talked about doing
A business community.
a business community meeting.
Okay, hold that thought.
I'm gonna.
These two things are so. One idea is, that was. Form an actual this district.
Well, why don't you wait? What you're going to say is value. As opposed to this right now.
Get on the roof.
I'll do it.
Basic talking is a little bit less, yeah.
There's.
You have a smaller, right? No? A smaller portion of it, that's what we do. In Illinois, we have a smaller portion of the tomato.
You have them every 5 minutes.
We have them every first Tuesday of the month.
Yeah, before they go.
Oh, tornado. The day in Colorado, got there, my friend was in Nebraska, like in a shelter, like, there's a tornado outside there. So I had
How we get that from there.
Go for
Alright, so if we do a business improvement district, you do a special tax and you dictate what that tax is, and then that puts more skin in the game for operating a business here. Those funds are specifically used just to focus on this district, which would be the historic district, business district. To promote and infrastructure and, you know, special events, et cetera, et cetera. That's one way of going about it, to like, hopefully shake out the people who are just kind of just holding on to space and whatnot. Where we have to actually pay us a little bit more in taxes to be here.
Well, some of those businesses do have higher incomes, so they don't have to have their businesses open, but they would pay that special tax. There's at least one store I'm thinking of, so I don't know, I don't wanna say no, but it's offhand.
So, I know previously at our old location, we would all the time have people that would come in and they're like, oh, why isn't so-and-so, and why isn't this person open, when is this? And it's like, I don't know. At one point, I tried to get like a little Facebook group together, but I didn't have time to maintain it, but if we had, say, you could like maintain something where like every day it's like, these are our hours, and if you're not gonna be open, we would let you know, we would post that. And that way, like, everybody would know like who's actually open that day. And, you know, say, oh, sorry, this happened or that happened. But otherwise, it's like, you're just always feeling those questions.
Right.
Is there consistency? And maybe that's one of the things that you're gonna find out, you know, you see it a little bit more because you're right there. You experience it, you
Yeah.
know,
There is consistency.
so, you know, is it, you know, Thursday a bad day, is Tuesday a bad, you know, whatever the situation is.
Well,
Sunday's
some of it's
also a
just-
bad day.
Some of it's just the same ones all the time.
Yeah.
That they're just not open.
Hey, we run into this in the visitor center, and that's, you know, the whole time for people that call us, they're not gonna be there, even some major businesses that are open all the time, nothing. Never anything. And there was a business study after about the other day, and I had a heck of a time remembering it, because I'm like, they're open 3 times a year. And I was like, oh gosh, that name just left my head, because they're never open, and they're great, you know, the store itself is wonderful. And, you know, it changes on a dime, and no one says a word.
Changes on a dime, and communication is really tough.
That's the negative.
You can go phone call, you can go email, you can go directly to them, well, they're closed, they don't check their email, they don't wanna get a phone call, their voicemail is full. I get that one a lot.
And no social media.
And no social media, or you email, or you direct message their social media and they don't answer it, they read it, and then they just keep posting or doing what they want, like. There's always ways to get creative, but like, even just trying to ask them to come to one meeting is tough. Like, we have this meeting and some of them, oh, it's too early, oh, I don't wanna spend time watching it later. You know, what if I do something after hours or on a day like Wednesdays when most of our restaurants are closed, maybe our businesses are closed, like. There's just so many layers to trying to get people. I've even offered to come into them so they don't have to close their store and it's, oh, we're good, or, you know, we'll talk for 2 hours, but there's no action afterwards. And it's like, but how can I help your social? How can I help you develop? And I just filled all these questions, so you know my role a little bit more, but I wanna know how my role can help benefit you more, and that didn't come through yet. We're working on that part, but.
So let's collect so let's have you collect some of that information in, you know, your next few weeks of rounds and bring it back here. Maybe we need to look at having another merchant appreciation in the fall. Last one we had was a couple of years ago. I don't know, and not necessarily with the focus on the appreciation, but, you know, maybe some of this information can come to light, but let's come back with some constructive,
Mixers are always
information.
great.
I'm sorry, what?
Should we do a mixer? Maybe we could do one as soon as you want.
We can do one right before summer.
Well, and I'm sorry to ask this, but can I get that information like map format of like which store, like,
Yeah,
of which ones are like, you know, the most, like businesses, but mostly closed, and which ones are vacant, and which ones are like
I need to come.
the power horse.
Because I did the last mixer, right? And I don't know that many people showed up. So like if the hotel did it, more people might show up.
Yeah, be right down, and typically,
It's right next to them.
we've had it after hours, so that they can come, they can shut their doors and come over, so.
And then if we had, I'm sorry, so
No,
sorry.
no, no,
I need to-
I interrupt you all the time.
Speed. If we do that, then what would be a nice thing to take advantage of it, entice them with wine and food and a cool site. And then what would be cool is now that we have people that are willing to do this stuff is create the questionnaires and stuff so that it's not verbal, but it's an actual survey that we're getting from them. Here's your wine, but you fill the survey out.
Show me you finished it before you get it.
Would it make sense, instead of couching it as a business appreciation thing, do it from the perspective of, hey, we have a problem in town, our businesses are dying. How can we get together and solve that problem? Put it out there as something that, hey, you know, this really is affecting the town, but it's really affecting all of our businesses.
Should we call it buck up business?
I mean, you know, instead of, you know, I think you may get more business owners to attend something like that than a social type thing.
I like that.
Worrying prices, spending pitchfork.
Or for the.
And I think a lot of people realize that, you know, there's a lot of empty storefronts downtown, a lot of places aren't open. And it's concerning, I'm sure, to a large part of the population.
The last mixer, I found out about it after, well, actually, after it had just finished from another business owner, but I think where we were, we didn't always get the flyers and that kind of stuff, so it's like, find out afterwards. I would have been, I don't know.
It goes out in emails and it goes out on, I think, social, and it goes out onto I know it goes in the post office, right?
But I can always help make sure that kind of follow up, because we've had other businesses who aren't directly in the main portion of Sixth Street or just off Sixth Street vocalize to the flyer thing as well.
But we want more than Sixth Street. There are businesses, you know, I don't know, 1491 Argentine Street.
I think there needs to be, I'm sorry, there needs to be the personal contact and all the other
agree.
pieces that follow up with that to spread the word. Okay, so do we think there's value in trying to have that within the next month? Or do you think that everyone is going to have their sights set on, oh, summer's coming and we're gearing up and everything is gonna be fine and it's not an appropriate time? Or it would be best to push back on? I don't know, I'm asking you, I'm not a business owner.
I don't know what the answer is. I tried talking to all the people that are closed and it just goes in one ear and right out the other.
I feel like doing it sooner and like, and under the, cover of saying we wanna really be supportive for the summer. How do we, help solve these problems for the summer?
We could do it the Sunday, the small business Sunday, what is that, May 26th? So once they're all closed, we can just do like a hurrah, but also like, give me your information.
Do you know what will be available on Sunday? I'm sorry, she.
Okay, no, that's great information to hear.
It's hard to do anything during the weekend in the summer, and we could do it toward Memorial Day, like we're gearing up for the season, and we have these issues that we need to work together on to make sure that we have a great summer season and make sure that we have some goals for people to work with, otherwise we're just gonna have problems and never solutions. But Sundays, nah.
Most of the restaurants are closed.
Wednesdays, but I think our retails are Tuesdays.
Just do an evening.
So if you're looking at May, Memorial Day weekend starts the 24th.
It's more than sure.
This gives us 2 weeks if you wanna pull something off in May, if we wanna pull something off in May.
Maybe before the 4th of July.
There's always that nice little lull. Since we're combining, since we've moved town cleanup day to a different month, and then we've combined Slacker and Tony Yard Sale Day on the same one. We're pretty.
Do you wanna have it the last weekend of June after Slacker, after everyone's gotten through that?
Day.
That might be good, right, because then some of them will be open more for the summer stuff, so we have a
Yeah.
better chance of capturing them.
So looking at the week of June 24th is a Monday.
Yeah. And I'll be out of town the 28th through the 30th, but I'm gonna be here for this. I can obviously change my plans.
So the Monday, the 24th? You wanna do it then? Is everyone available for it? Because the participation needs to be, BPC also needs to be in attendance. We need to be pushing what our value.
24th for one.
Paul, does the 24th work for you?
Looking.
June, right?
Yes.
Jessica, I'm assuming
Okay.
yes, on the 24th, Mike, the 24th?
June 24, yep.
I also don't think that it interferes with any commission meetings, evening commission meetings, or board of selectmen meetings. Bob, you're a big spokesman for this. Does the 24th work for you?
I can make the 24th work.
Diane?
Cool.
Okay.
We'll rope in chair, vice chair.
Yeah,
Just to make sure.
and that gives us a little bit of time if we need to make some alterations, and of course, we'll need to discuss funding with our illustrious treasurer.
Maybe we want to consider inviting someone from Clear Creek Economic Development to hear the issues or keep it local.
Let's do the local people in town.
Yeah.
That would be a value. Let's,
If you ask her if she can make it then.
What are we calling this?
we'll
I
come
was
up with a
only
clever name. Yeah, we're not gonna call it business buck up, but.
I was only kidding. I have alliteration.
You know,
Business at Georgetown meetup?
we'll come up with a pizzazz,
Cool.
something, get creative.
Summer splash. I don't know.
Yeah.
I'll leave the alliteration out the door.
But I agree with, what people are saying, I think it's. Put your money where your mouth is, and we need to address some issues, this isn't just a. Follow along line. Let's move on to his approval so we can wrap this up. Anybody have any changes, corrections?
Second.
All in favor? Motion passed. We have a motion to adjourn.
I knew we. Second.
All in favor? Goodbye. Motion passed.